Welcome back once again, everyone, to Iron Fang Invasion, Book 6. Last time, you all, after learning the soon-to-be fate of, frankly, all of Galarian, with this plan that the Iron Fang Legion has started, this spell that will rip the vault out of the plane of Earth and deposit it in the air like a meteor, you realized that you didn't have a whole lot of time. You had to go to a couple different nexuses, these monumental, elemental sort of powering stations for this spell that's been started. And by realigning them in a different direction, you could extend the countdown, so to speak. So instead of having just a day, you'd expand it to maybe a week, giving you enough time to rest and plan out your next steps, even if you didn't have the most luxury of time, even with a week at your disposal. With that, you asked the sand in the archive a couple follow-up questions, and it was able to give you exquisitely detailed maps of the vault, and then it could zoom in to show you an image of the nexuses and show you where they were. And the image that you saw was in fact so realistic and so detailed that you could teleport to the first nexus with, frankly, almost no chance of failure, because you might as well have been looking at the location with how intricate the sand was able to make this image. And the first one that you planned on going to was the Molten Nexus in the volcano. And upon arriving, you encountered a rather, what's the right word? Sort of volatile dragon.
Narcissistic?
Yes, narcissistic and emotionally volatile. You were able to talk your way through your interaction with the dragon after a great deal of flattery and some bribes, and she just kind of observed, and whenever she started getting a little antsy, you would make sure to say something nice and calm her down. And after tinkering with the nexus there and realigning everything, you were able to end on an amicable enough relationship that she actually gave you 3 of her scales that had been ripped off in a prior altercation. You had regenerated them with your spells after resting a bit, and she saw no use in keeping the 3 that were no longer a part of her, and those 3 would potentially power up your spells in a couple different ways, depending on how you use them. I don't know if you guys split those up or if you all gave them to one person. I can't remember what you did, but you took the 3 scales, the red, the yellow, the orange, and then you teleported to the next nexus, which was in a quarry, and upon arriving, you encountered a small group of Zorns who, frankly, were not super interested in the nexus or you, but they had been told to guard it, and they said they would. But clearly they were easily swayed by bribes, as well as a series of magical items and coins, all metallic based in some way, shape, or form, managed to convince them to turn a blind eye, so to speak, as they went to start eating some of the coins that you gave them, and you realigned that nexus as well. At this point, having bought yourselves about 4 days worth of time, though you did rest, so one day is almost currently ticking down. And then you moved on to the final nexus, and upon realigning this one, you will get yourselves essentially the rest of today and 7 more days with which to figure out your next steps. But arriving at this particular nexus and beginning to make your way up towards the top of a hill where the nexus was situated, the entire hill began to shake as a creature, or the hill turned into a sort of creature that had been slumbering there for many years. And you were all knocked aside, and you tried talking to it, but it didn't seem keen on diplomacy like the other 2 encounters you had. And it soon released an electric discharge within a 300-foot radius, hit all of you, and despite at least two of you rolling in the 20 or 30 range for your saving throw, it was too much to dodge completely. And it dealt quite a substantial amount of damage to all of you. And the creature then proceeded to bite down on Oran and grapple him. And that is where we left off last session after the first round of combat. You all had taken substantial beatings, either at half health or close to half health or less than half health. And you guys had a few days here to think about your foolproof strategy, your guaranteed method of victory against this creature. And we're here to figure out how you plan on accomplishing that task. So, I guess we'll just jump straight back into combat. No need to drag this out. We'll see how short this session can be.
We're going for a record.
Yeah.
Try to get it out real quick today.
Smooth 20-minute session.
We got things to do.
Good.
All right. So top of round 2. Oh, before we do continue, I did want to mention one thing that I had considered and will be implementing for this combat. The book obviously doesn't use this map because this map is the AI-generated map, so it wouldn't have mentioned anything like this, but you all at this point are high enough level adventurers that your characters would realize that after being hit by this electrical attack, it is a sort of burst effect, not unlike a channel, meaning it requires direct line of effect. So if you guys do hide behind any of these larger stones, I will consider that to be cover against the electrical attack, depending on angles and such. So
It's not so tall it doesn't matter.
What's cover? The big rocks?
the rocks, if you hide behind the rocks. It is very tall, but the rocks are also quite tall. You can tell by their shadows. These are very large rocks as well. So I am going to say that these bigger rocks, so like this small one here, that's not going to do it. This one here probably wouldn't even either, but these big ones on the three sides, if you like actively like move into them and like get between them in such a way, I will allow that to be functionally cover. So since it's a burst, it won't be able to hit you if you have cover. If you only have partial cover, you get a bonus to your reflex save, but that doesn't really matter because of how high the DC is. So
It was doing electricity damage though too, right?
that burst attack was electricity. Yes, it was dealing regular old bludgeoning damage when it bit down on Oran, but the burst effect was electricity.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that I let all of you know about that before we went into this. And top of round 2, that brings us to Gideon. Don't forget that the haste you guys all had was lost when you got hit by the electricity discharge, so you're not hasted.
Not hasted, which always sucks. We hate that. And Oran is grappled.
Yeah, he's like 60 feet up in the air in the thing's mouth. He's kind of like doing one of those things you see in movies where he's like trying to hold the jaws up before he gets swallowed. And he's not winning.
I can't remember. Am I in provoke range if I try to move, or am I just outside of its reach there?
I think you're outside of its range, but technically speaking, when I grappled Oran, I did not take the penalty to not take the grappled condition myself. I should have, because I would have still succeeded, but I didn't think to do it, so technically it can't take attacks of opportunity this round. I just hadn't thought of it. It would have easily been able to succeed. I just did not think of doing that.
Well, while I stall, let's go ahead and get my divine touch out of the way.
Yeah, I'll keep you alive forever.
It ain't gonna do much, but we'll go ahead and roll the 5d6 anyway. Takes 17 health. That's something.
Almost back to full.
Yeah, it's only 71 damage on the electricity.
And then, I don't know how to play this. I don't have any teleports, so I can't really get this guy out of here. What, bonus to saves, in theory, could help, right? If I'm not being crazy there, right? Is he's gonna get swallowed up, and those are grapple checks or saving throws?
No, that'd be a grapple check on the creature's turn, because the creature can't swallow unless it starts its turn grappling the thing. So on its turn, it will try to maintain the grapple, and if it does, then it'll be able to swallow. And there's no check involved for that. the check to turn whatever's inside of it to stone would be a saving throw, but at that point I don't think Oran would be affected by your invocation because he would not be within line of effect or line of sight.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this isn't going to help a ton, but we'll go ahead and do it. We'll call forth an invocation of resistance against electricity.
Electricity 6.
It'll reduce it by 6. You're welcome.
So it's a move action and a swift.
Yeah, and we will standard action cast protection from energy on myself.
Okay. What energy type?
That would be electricity.
Oh, are you sure about that?
I want to keep him in line of sight. Don't get swallowed, buddy. That'd be really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do what I can.
It is what it is.
It is. I feel like there's nothing I can do to stop that, though. But okay.
All right. That's your turn?
Yep.
Anything else? Okay. Brings us to Oran, the man in question.
Can I delay?
Sure. Oran elects to delay, bringing us to Jessup.
Quick, let's get back to his turn. Jessup delays. Yeah, Jessup's really got much. So, Jason, I guess I moved over here. Can I see the rock man from behind my rock?
Yeah, you can see it. Because the line of sight goes from like corners of your square, so you can see it pretty easily.
Well, I was just meant so I could hide from the electricity burst.
Oh, if you wanted to get completely out of the burst effect, if you went like one square down, you'd be fine.
Like here?
Yeah, there or the one. Like, yeah, there or there.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. So, yeah, Jessup will... So, to get out of a grapple check, would you just roll a... Was it strength checks or escape artist, something like that?
So, yeah, you can do a CMB or an escape artist. Those are the two main ones.
I can't do what I originally wanted to do, unfortunately. So, I think I'm going to drop performance. Not that it's going to do a ton. I'm going to start another one here, but I think... So, I'm just trying to look up... So, I think Oran's escape artist is really poo-poo caca, if I'm not mistaken.
It's pretty bad.
Okay.
And it's against this creature's CMD, isn't it? Which has got to be like 65 minimum.
Just for reference, I'm about a -8.
Oh, shenanigans. Wow.
Is that like an approximation? Or?
Yeah, roughly a -8.
Roughly a -8.
Dude, you still got a 5% chance, right? Nat 20 always succeeds, doesn't it?
You put the BA in bad, apparently.
Bad for that, yeah.
So I guess I'm not 100%. Oh, we're not slowed yet. That's right. So Jessup is going to cast. So he will kind of shout, "I don't think we're up for this. Shadowbard." So Jessup will do Inspire Courage on Shadowbard, and then Jessup will then let's see. I just want to see where line of effect is for my other spell here. How come I never find my performances when I want to?
I don't know. Maybe you didn't...
Maybe I just don't know how to read.
I mean, it helps.
There it is. Within 30 feet. Can I see Gideon from here, Jason, or would you say no?
From there, yeah, sure. Because if you go from the corner of the one that's like peeking around...
Oh, it doesn't matter. He's too far away. So
Okay, never mind.
I guess I'm not 100% certain. So Jessup will at least start Inspire Greatness, and he's the only one in range. So I guess he'll do it on himself.
Okay.
That's really it, unfortunately.
All right. Yeah, and to the point made there, combat maneuver checks are technically attack rolls, I believe. So technically, natural 20s do always succeed.
Oh, good. I'm glad that we have that option. That'll really pull us through this combat.
Yep, just wanted to make sure that you were aware that if you just roll a natural 20, you're fine. All right, after Jessup is Kieran.
Okay. Kieran is going to survey this scene, which is just like, oh boy, we weren't prepared for this. And he is going to fly in to Oran, straight into Oran. He's going to grab Oran by the forearm, if he can. And then he's going to cast Dimension Door.
Save me!
All right.
And because this thing didn't attack me as I came in, I'm assuming it doesn't have an attack of opportunity, which I know you told us, but Kieran didn't know. So he's not going to cast defensively. He's just going to risk it.
For the biscuits.
risk it for the biscuit. So dimension door, and then I'm going to dimension door us behind this big rock over here.
Ah, perfect.
Joke's on you. Any creature within 5 feet of the Zarxorin is subject to an anti-magic sphere.
Or
I was gonna
a
say, he has
dimensional anchor.
Dimensional anchor built inside of him.
I would be so sad. I would be like, all right, there's literally no way we're getting out of this without TPK. So if we're right there, Jason, are we?
Yep.
Oh, safe. Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
And then Kieran's going to turn to Oran and he's going to say, please stay here. I'm going to try to get the others. I don't think we can win.
Oran takes his turn and immediately charges at the big creature.
You're like in games when you have an NPC that you can't control and they just run back in and you're like, no!
He's like, why'd you pull me off him? I was about to kill him. I had where I wanted him. Yeah.
Or free action. Quick saves.
Quick saves.
Yeah, F5,
real
F5.
quick. F5.
All right, that's my turn.
Oh boy. All right.
I'll take mine now.
I was going to say, Oran, yeah. All right, let's move you down a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only going to just cast heal on myself.
All right.
I don't feel well. How close is Jessup?
You don't know? Oh.
You don't know.
Well, actually, I don't know where you guys are. I don't.
Okay, so Oran will actually move like here.
Okay.
And then I'll actually channel instead of heal.
All right. Let's get a channel out there and do a little bit of healing. Oh, I saw Jessup's temp HP and I thought that was the channel for a second. I was like, how did you manage that?
What a weak channel.
That's
Hey, it wasn't that
bad.
far off.
16 on 8d6. Wow.
Yeah, 27's not particularly great either.
Not great either. Yeah. But it's fine. It's
Listen,
fine. It's
that's like a third of his lightning blast. So, you know, you never know.
We're fine. Yeah. We'll live forever. Okay, that'll be my turn.
Okay, so that is now the Zarxorin's turn. Oh boy, what to do? There's so many options. Okay, I think what we're gonna do here is he's not grappling anybody anymore, so
He's gonna grab Gideon.
he only sees one person in range.
Oh no.
So he's gonna move up a little bit here just to get you just within range there. And then he is going to do one attack against you, Gideon. And I'm going to use one of my special abilities. And, okay, so this has to be with the slam attack. So I can't bite you, but I'll slam you. So against you, Gideon, that is a 54 to hit.
Yeah, that's gonna hit.
Not a critical threat. I was one away from being a critical threat, but yeah. So you will take... Oh crap, I forgot to power attack again.
Ah, what a shame.
That would add literally so much damage. Okay. 34 points of damage with the crappy non-power attack. And it is going to use some of its Menhir focus pool points as a free action. So it can expend 1 point as a free action when it strikes an opponent with a slam attack. Give me a fortitude save. 36. Not bad. Unfortunately, it's not enough. As we did cover a little bit, I did reveal the curtains that the DCs on these abilities is 40. So, Gideon, you are... Let me roll a d6. You are stunned for 3 rounds.
Oh, no.
Oh boy.
So, as per the stunned condition, I'm sure we're all aware, a stunned creature drops everything held, can't take actions, takes a -2 penalty to AC, and loses its dex bonus to AC, if any. Attackers receive a +4 bonus on attack rolls to perform combat maneuvers against a stunned opponent. Yeah, like it needed that bonus. Yes, that's a free action. If I believe it can spend no more than 2 points per round. But the other 2 abilities don't apply in this situation. So it had to move up a little bit, standard action attack, free action to do its stun ability. So that is its turn. Top of round 3, Gideon, you are stunned. So you can't really do anything on your turn here at the start of the round. Brings us to Jessup.
I lament as my action.
Yeah.
We obviously don't know that he is stunned, do we? I don't think there's any way
Well,
we would...
you're the only one who would have had line of sight on Gideon, potentially.
Oh, okay.
and you saw that he took a big hit, and he dropped his mace,
Oh,
his Morning Star, his
that's not good.
bloom.
I'm stunned for 3 rounds. He shouts out.
In a stunned way.
I got a feeling that that's how long it's gonna last.
Okay, so I can see Gideon.
Yeah, I'd say you can see him from where you're at, because a ranged attack would more or less be able to work.
Is there a roll or anything to discern that he's stunned, or just because I knew that he dropped his hammer? I mean, I guess just curious.
If you wanted Jessup to like get the in-game like he is stunned knowledge, it would be a perception check, which would be an action. But as just a free like looking around, I'd say that you can see that he dropped his mace, which is a pretty bad situation anyways. Like stunned or not, you know that it would take him an action to pick up his mace, which would provoke, which it's like he's not in a good spot whether he's stunned or not.
Well, there's something I could potentially do. I just don't know. I guess that's the hard part, is if I spend an action to see if he's stunned, then it just defeats the purpose of what I would do.
I'd let it be like a move action. If you're doing something that is affecting the stunned condition, then you could. I wouldn't say it necessarily has to be a standard action to do it,
Okay.
but
So I'll roll. Can I do then perception as my move action?
I'd allow it.
Okay.
Because it's not like you're examining a scene too much. You're just making sure
Checking
that
out my
he's,
friend.
Yeah,
Ugh,
I'd say more than a
17.
swift action, but yeah.
17.
17. I'd say with a 17, you know that something's going on. Yeah, he's wavering, and basically the fact that he dropped his weapon alone is a pretty big deal, because you know that any warrior of your guys' level doesn't just drop their weapon even if they're hit.
Jason, would you
Yes.
perhaps phrase it that perhaps he's faltering?
He's
that-
definitely
He is
faltering.
faltering.
Would that be an accurate
No,
statement?
no, he's not faltering. No, he's doing fine.
Let me see. So faltering is defined as losing strength or momentum. He's definitely lost the momentum here.
Yeah.
No.
Moving unsteadily or hesitantly. Yeah.
I will have maintained my greatness as a free action.
Okay.
Move action would have discerned that he is faltering. Standard action, I'm going to cast Song of Healing, and I will target Gideon, myself, and Oran, because I could do up to 3 targets. So it gives us all fast healing of 2, but it's the latter action, because then I will, as a swift action, change my performance to Inspire Heroics on Gideon.
Oh my, so many things.
So due to when I casted Song of Healing, I had Inspire Greatness, but when I switched to a different bard performance, the fast healing immediately ends, but all creatures affected by the spell gain 1d8 hit points of damage plus 1 per caster level, max of 15. Be cured of the following conditions: exhausted, fatigue, nauseated, paralyzed, sickened, or stunned.
Fancy.
Get absolutely destroyed with some metamagic player knowledge. That's
So
pretty fun.
Gideon, myself, and Oran will heal for 1d8.15. I'll just roll for all of us, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
20.
That's not
Yep.
bad.
So the 3 of you heal 20 HP and heal from being stunned. Sadly, we've already gone past his turn,
Well,
so
I don't know what to tell you. But
he
you have
doesn't
Inspire
take all the
Heroics.
penalties from being stunned, so that's good.
Yeah, it would have been really nice if he was higher in the initiative order. Maybe I could have delayed while stunned.
Oh, yeah, I'll use my second standard action to give him what was it? An extra action. No big deal.
Yeah, the one time where rolling super high on initiative actually hurts you. If Gideon had rolled like normal, he'd be fine.
So sorry, Gideon. That's all I can do.
All right.
You did a lot, man. I'm
Yeah,
grateful.
that was a very very dense turn. Lots of effects going off.
More than I could have managed.
Dense. That's what people say to me a lot. That's for you, Gideon.
Ooh, dodge bonus to AC. He'll never be hit again.
I mean, I don't know. I had to switch it to something.
All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty much immune to damage now.
That brings us to Kieran.
Okay, Kieran's going to fly up and survey the scene, seeing
Okay.
only Gideon in the line of fire. I'm going to fly and provoke.
Okay. That'll be a, let's see what we get here. Oh my gosh. No joke. natural 1.
Oh,
Oh.
wow.
However, that is still a 37, so I think we've already talked about this in the past, meaning it would still get rid of an image, but
Yeah.
We have talked about it in the past. Image, but no hit.
yeah, it's a miss, but it within the confines of how the spell works, it does get rid of an image. But yeah, 37 on a natural 1 will miss.
Now, did we say that I can touch multiple things? Like, can I reach and grab Gideon by his ankle and grab his Morning Star in Dimension Door?
Oh,
If his hands are free.
I mean, you could in theory do that to any adjacent hero that you could have done, correct?
That's what I was saying, because if there were 2 people there, I could grab both people. It's only a verbal component of the spell.
When his hammer fell, it landed completely vertically, so that it is the exact height of where your hand needs to be.
My mace is a willing target. Its touch AC is effectively 0.
Like it says I can bring along objects as long as their weight doesn't exceed my maximum load. Let me just tell you, my maximum load, friends, is 520 pounds. So.
I love how Sarah took the moment. Just so you know, in case you were curious, Kieran is really strong. You don't get those washboard abs for nothing.
He's ripped, man, and it's not just the abs. Let me just clarify. It's also the biceps and the pectorals, okay? It's the whole kit.
Well, just so you know, this creature's max carry capacity isn't even on the chart.
Nobody cares, Jason. We're talking about Kieran right now.
Yeah, well, my made-up creature is literally off the charts. So take that. In the game of make-believe, I win.
It's kind of funny because, like, I think rules is written, it would still be a move action to pick it up, but, like, there's really no reason why you wouldn't be able to just touch it.
I'm not picking it up. I'm just touching it.
Dimensioning dooring.
Just
So, like, I'll allow it. It's an interesting situation that I'm surprised I haven't heard come up before.
It's supposed to be a move action to pick up an object, but
Yeah.
touching an object should be able to be done as part of casting a spell, because it lets you touch up to 6.
Yeah. It's a full round action to touch 6 things, but
I'm coming in at an angle. So like I said, I'm grabbing his ankle in the mace. So I'm like coming in low, you know?
sadly, since you're on a slight incline, the mace rolled like 20 feet downhill. So
Well, if it rolled this way, that's fine. We can get it a lot easier if it goes this way.
no, you're fine. I'll allow it.
Okay, and then I'm going to dimension door him over to where I just deposited Oran.
Hi!
And that's my turn.
All right. That brings us to Oran, who says hi.
I say hi. I say hello. I guess I'll just do the same channel.
All right. Some more healing for everybody.
How wounded is Gideon? Is he beaten and bruised?
A channel will be fine.
Okay.
Help the group, man.
He's literally at 1 hit point.
Wow, that's
Not much better.
marginally better.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take it, dude. I'm
Got a
taking it.
29 for all you guys.
I gotta say, it really does help the feeling of the power fantasy at level 16 to run away from an enemy with your tail between your legs. Wow. Boy, do I feel powerful. Woo!
Yep.
I don't want to be here anymore.
I mean, you guys can do what you want. If you want to run back in there, I'm not going to get you out twice. So that's your choice. I
I
did
didn't
what I
say you
could.
made the wrong choice. I said I hated the choice.
All right. That's your turn, Oran?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The creature just kind of isn't fully aware of where you've teleported since it can't. You just kind of disappeared out of nowhere and the others ran off. It is going to move a little bit in the direction over there. It's not going to fully commit. And then it is going to. It's just going to stay there for a bit. You can kind of hear the sparking of electricity on its back still, but that is going to be it for now. Top of round 4, Gideon, you are no longer stunned, and your mace is on the ground there next to you.
I will pick up the mace and ready in action to move when other people move, so we can't go together.
Okay. That brings us to Jessup.
Ha! Obviously, we're all lining up this nice pile to be murdered. I should run over to it.
Sounds good.
Immediately sees you.
I can... No, no.
Good plan.
Can I? I'm not sure if I can run through these rocks. Can I? No.
Which rocks?
I don't know. Just trying to find space.
Where are you trying to run to? Just to
I
be
just
next
didn't
to
know
them?
where I could
that's
be.
Fine.
Yeah, I didn't know if I could move here or where. But
Yeah, you're fine next door.
Guess
In
I'll
there.
move
That's
there.
what'll do.
Ha! Hello, gang. This is not going well. And I no longer put my inspire on Gideon. Sorry, Gideon.
Yep. Do you have anything as a standard? Or are you like readying or?
Oh yeah, haste.
Okay, yeah.
We're here. Why not?
Everybody's re-hasted after being de-hasted a few rounds ago. All right, that brings us to Kieran. There's no longer anybody left to save.
All right. Kieran's going to step up to, I don't know if I can step up there, but get into a position where I can grab everybody and I'll say, I think we need to regroup. I don't think we can take this as is. We need to either come up with a game plan or not get this Nexus. I'm not sure, but I think we need to get out of here for the time being. Do you agree? And then I'll ready to Dimension Door if they agree.
Oran agrees.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Actually,
Gideon concurs.
I don't know if I should Dimension Door or just straight up teleport.
What can go wrong? It can't be worse than this.
Technically, Gideon hasn't picked up his mace yet.
Oh,
I'm sure I would have.
Thought he said he did.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Because
sure he did.
it was a move action to pick, and then I readied my
Oh, so
standard
that's
action
what
to
you did as
run.
your movement. Okay. Okay.
Joke's on
You're
you,
good.
Gideon. Your mace is not a willing target.
Ah! Everbloom, come back to me. Why?
Yeah. So does everybody concur then?
Oh, I can.
Oh, we are in agreement.
So yeah, that is up to you whether you want to try to teleport or whether you want to Dimension Door.
Cast anywhere but here. That's a fun spell.
I'm going to teleport us to the Petch village.
Okay.
I don't know what you would consider that to be. Seen casually?
Probably the same as the archive. Yeah, because you've been there the one time. Really, you didn't spend a whole lot.
All right, hold your breath. 70. I think that's okay.
70 is within, even viewed once, 70 would be
Okay.
fine.
Okay,
So
good deal. So that's where I will take us.
you are able to teleport over to Stoneholm. You wouldn't technically be in the archives there, but it's all the same map, so.
We can just say it was the archives. I think in my head was saying this. I just didn't remember what it was called. So this is fine because it has the sand that will tell us what to do.
Yep.
Sand, tell us what to do. How do we beat this thing?
Sand, what secrets do you hold?
Unclear.
Oh.
Oh, all right. Well, that didn't go quite as planned, I will admit. I was not prepared for that, especially after the first two went so well.
Kieran, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
You really saved my grits back there.
Yeah, I think you've been in monsters' mouths one too many times, Oran.
Agreed.
I think we've potentially bought ourselves some time at least with the other two Nexi. Perhaps we rest and come up with a game plan. What was best?
I don't know, honestly. From what I could tell of that creature, I couldn't really do any damage to it, and it did a lot of damage to us, so I don't know if it's even worth trying again, if we can come up with a plan, a better strategy now that we know what we're up against.
Jason, can you remind us, do we need to have all three of the Nexi down to be able to enter the Citadel?
So there were a couple things hinted at. I didn't get into specifics, but basically what in your conversation with Squinting Sabernar, the super old Petch over there, if you were to ask him things about the Nexuses, or if you were asking the Saiyans some more detailed questions, you would learn that currently the three Nexuses were powering both the spell that is being used, and they are also empowering the people within the Citadel. So, just kind of, since you've already misaligned these two, the Molten Nexus would have given every enemy within the Citadel a +2 d6 fire damage to all their melee attacks. The Shard Nexus would have given every enemy in the Citadel DR10 adamantine. The Flow Nexus would give everybody in the Citadel some amount of resistance to a couple different elements. And then also the Nexus would once more double the amount of time that you have. So you do not technically need to misalign this particular Nexus, but there are benefits to doing so.
Since we have some time, should we consider going back to disarm the last Nexi, and if things get hairy, see if we can luckily teleport out again, or risk that Kieran will be very severely crippled when we go to fight Xerxes in the army. And if they impede my sonic damage, I am almost utterly worthless.
Well, I mean, if I know that they've got some sort of resistance, then I can plan accordingly. It's just when I'm not expecting it, and then I waste spells and time trying to bring them down with stuff that they're resistant against. So we could try it one more time now that we know that there's an electricity attack, and but honestly, I don't know how we're going to damage it, other than just trying to ride it out on its back and try to disarm the Nexus that way. Without taking down the creature, I don't know exactly how we're going to accomplish this.
Did we learn anything about it, like its alignment or anything?
So I think I had given you guys, I pretty much gave you the whole stat block minus a couple of the numbers. So one thing again that I would remind you all is that any questions you could direct to the sand for information. This archive again is a repository of the collective knowledge of the vault builders, the semi-deities who built this vault. If you were to ask the sands questions about this creature, you would essentially it would for all intents and purposes be like an infinite knowledge check. You just see the stat block, might as well, basically. It can provide you any amount of knowledge that you need about this creature or any other creatures in the vault, pretty much, because it is the encyclopedia of the vault itself. It's the wiki page.
I'm fine with this, Give me license to metagame. What's your max stealth roll you can get, Kieran?
My max stealth roll. So if I cast invisibility without any other buffs, it would be a 25. Plus 25.
Plus 25, not a...
Yeah, plus 25.
25.
That's not enough.
No, it's not. I mean, there's probably stuff that I don't think I have any spells to increase that.
So given that the sands are at your disposal, if you guys wanted to look up the stat blocks, you could. But yeah, so the Zarxorins they are neutral colossal outsiders. The relevant numerical stuff that I left out before is that it's SR 30, spell resistance 30. DR 15 all. Their saves are 18, 16, 18, 350 hit points, 34 AC. All their DCs are DC 40. Their to hits are 36. Their CMB is 52 or 56 versus grapple. CMD is 62. That base attack bonus being 28 would have been a minus 8 to hit and plus 16 to damage. So
I'm just curious, what is its touch AC?
2.
Gunslingers are really broken, aren't they?
Gunslingers are not designed for this game, no.
It's moments like that where it's a gunslinger would just ignore the combat, would just do enough damage that it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, gunslinger would kill it in 2 rounds. I get it, right? A gun, you just have to hit the target to do damage, sure. But if your target is literally a hill, a bullet will
do nothing.
Do much.
Yeah, it won't actually do anything unless it's enhanced by, I don't know.
Yeah, so
this is funny. They're basically Ents, because it says when Zarxorins encounter one another, they share stories of their travels slowly over many days and then depart peacefully. So they're just Ents.
Yeah, they do everything on a really long time scale.
Maybe if Oran approaches them as a fellow stone person, he
maybe.
shapeshifts and was like, "Hey, I'm a stony guy. You want to share some stony stories? Man, life is difficult, ain't it? But when you just settle and rock, you can rock and roll, baby. Ain't that right?"
Why did this thing just attack us? We didn't do anything to it.
You want to roll knowledge checks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Infinite knowledge checks. Tell us, Sans, why did it hurt us?
This one actually would be just a straight intelligence check. This isn't a knowledge check. This is an intuition, a piecing things together check.
Okay.
Can we aid?
That checks out.
If you want to aid and have all 4 of you discuss it to see if you guys come to any sort of consensus.
Can I roll profession soldier?
No.
understand why. What is the behavior of this enemy combatant? No?
No.
Okay, I'm not gonna help. I'm gonna aid Kieran. Why not?
What?
You
Why
probably
me?
have a higher intelligence
you-
than Kieran does.
I don't.
Kieran's a charisma caster.
Did you
Yeah.
dump intelligence?
No, I have a +1.
See, I have a 10.
Mine's a 12.
Goodness
you go.
gracious, what is wrong with your party?
We're capable, not smart.
Listen, we
Okay.
are good looking.
I am double smart than Oran, but only a 6.
We are good looking and can talk our way out of danger. We don't think a lot.
I'm gonna roll
So-
my own. Maybe the gods can grace me with wisdom. Well, you know.
Well, at least,
Well.
hey, we're doubling. Get a 24, Kieran. I don't know how it's possible, but you can
can't.
double.
We went from 3 to 6 to 12. That's
You
true.
can
We
do
are
it,
doubling.
Kieran.
3.
Yeah, you're a factorial. Yay.
I will a 12. I was looking for at least a 10 here, so 12 is fine. It's you realized that each time that you did something at these locations, these nexuses, so the Molten Nexus, the volcano was almost active, essentially. When you misaligned the nexus, it cooled down back to a more equilibrium state. The crystal quarry you were at, once you realign or misaligned that one to the way it was supposed to be, all of the crystals suddenly lit up very brightly as if the energy had been restored to the area. You think, Gideon, this is just kind of a guess. You're not 100% because you didn't, like, you rolled enough to get this information, but not enough to be, like, convicted of your correctness.
It's a hunch. He'll throw it to the group and see what they think.
You wonder if this nexus being misaligned the way that it has been by the Iron Fang Legion is what is causing the creature to be so aggressive and agitated. And if it is reset back to its original state, if the creature might just become dormant and turn into a hill again for who knows how many years. But that is kind of the intuition that you get, having seen the effects that the other nexuses had once you set them back the way they were supposed to be.
But it took minutes to be able to.
It takes 1 minute per attempt, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to sit for that long.
You just have to ride it out for 10 rounds.
That or, just don't be seen. He'll never know you're there.
Jason, what was its resistances and immunities again for elemental magic?
It's immune to acid and it has the standard elemental traits, but other than that, it's, spell resistance.
So, here's a question, Jason. If I could go in flying and not touch him if he's in his hill form, if I'm flying and mess with the thing, would he know that I was there?
It would still somewhat be up to a perception versus stealth check, because even if you're flying, he'd be able to hear like the wind moving your clothing around and whipping your like long wizardy cloak that I imagine Kieran having for some reason.
No, I won't have any clothes on.
Yeah, but then his
mage armor.
lush flowing hair would be.
He doesn't have long hair.
I kind of see it in my head.
No.
Does nobody have the capacity to cast silent?
No.
You do. At least one of you does, if not two.
We don't have a spell for it, though.
If not three of you.
I mean, not prepared. It could, but it's not prepared.
Yeah, it's a cleric one. It doesn't mechanically give a boost to your stealth per se, but
Which
I
is
think
kind of baffling.
Yeah, I think there's room for DM kindness to say that it would mitigate the sound, maybe at a +5, +10. +10 sounds really fair. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Like, if anything, you'd think that silence would be more stealthy than invisibility. Because with invisibility, yeah, they won't see you, but like they can hear you just fine, right? But silence, it's like they would never think to look for you if they don't hear you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but I would argue you don't have the ambiance of like just the wind and stuff. Like when when things get eerily silent and you're like, oh, something's up. Now they might not be able to still perceive your direction,
True.
but I would argue that you'd be like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah,
Sure.
That's what I'm thinking. But
And that's what you just need to do is we need to cast silence on like someone else who can fly, hover at a specific distance so only the Nexi is in the silence radius, and then do it. That makes more sense.
Cast silence on Gideon, who can fly. Cast invisibility on Gideon and Kieran. They both fly, and Gideon just hovers above it, like you're saying.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense to me.
It's just a hilarious picture in my head.
I see we go with that plan.
Surely there's got to be another cleric spell that buffs stealth, though, right?
I don't know. I don't think normally my Omnipresent Mentor allows me to do that. I guess that kind of falls into GM territory because they kind of say something like that does not usually fall.
Pass without a trace. Isn't that something helpful? Or does that not exist? In
That's
this
for
game?
tracks.
No, you're right. That's just tracks.
Omnipresent Mentor is just giving your Inspire competence bonus to somebody, right?
Maybe it's Inspire Competence that's got the verbiage. I thought it said, certain uses of the ability are infeasible, such as stealth, and may be disallowed. So that's where something like that falls into GM discretion if they will allow that bonus or not. I could do it easy, but...
Yeah, so that's one of the situations that if you were trying to use Inspire Competence to increase somebody's stealth, I would say absolutely not, because you have to speak to them, because your performance is auditory. Technically speaking, Omnipresent Mentor affects them after you use it. So you wouldn't have to actively be speaking to them for it to work. So in theory, you wouldn't be invalidating stealth in that specific situation.
I mean, if you're good with it, I can do it. There's no problem.
I feel like we've done it before, haven't we?
I want to say we did in certain situations, but I still like to check, just make sure obviously you're good with it.
Yeah, I think it's probably fine.
And then surely heroism gives buffs to skills, doesn't it?
+2, I believe, yeah.
It does. Good Hope does as well, but they're the same.
Yeah, hero is going to last a lot longer.
That would be competence. That would be morale.
I think the only thing is I used originally my Inspire or my Omnipresent Mentor to help Kieran with giving him a bonus to his the check there that we needed.
Use magic device.
Yeah. So I guess that's where Kieran might be a little bit more crippled on that if I help with the stealth.
I can get you another +2 with Hunter's Blessing. I can get a +2 Sacred on Initiative, Perception, Stealth, Survival if we call it Hill as the terrain.
Yeah.
I love it.
Hilly
I love it.
terrain.
It makes sense.
Hilly terrain and also the creature type.
It's the only time you'll get
Hill?
bonuses against the same creature twice.
Hill.
To be honest,
Also,
if you're going with the hovering plan, I'd almost say air is the
okay,
the
sure.
geography, even though that's not a category.
Sky.
Yeah,
Sky.
Choose a terrain type, sky.
I choose sky. Anywhere there's air, I have my bonus. That's not min-maxing, that's just nature. That's just how the world works. Do you have a luck stone? That'd be helpful.
No. I gave all of our Dust of Disappearance to that dragon. I do have Dust of Tracelessness, but again, that's only for tracks.
Do you have the cool Ioun stones that give you buffs to specific spells that you can switch per day? Because I have those.
No, I have the Incandescent Blue Sphere, which changes ability score.
Kieran, technically I have 2 magenta prisms, and that's what Gideon said is about that. It gives you the +2 enchantment or enhancement bonus to one ability score of your choosing. Or not ability score, I'm sorry. I'm thinking the wrong thing here. Oh, that's the regular one. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the cracked. It's +2 competence bonus to a skill.
Yes, which I'm not sure that would stack anyway.
Yeah, because I think because I think in hero is morale, if I'm not mistaken.
So if you had a way to boost dexterity, that would boost stealth.
Yeah, I do actually I might be able to, because I have the Incandescent Blue Sphere Ioun Stone, which I didn't intend to ever use to switch ability score. Oh no, never mind. I lied. I got the one that you can't switch. This one's just for...
So if we just increase dexterity, then it would help?
Yeah, because dexterity is what you use for stealth. So
Okay. I mean, do we need to do it like today? Or like
No.
wait
Presumably.
so I can like prepare for tomorrow, because there's
You could get, what is it, Cat's Grace?
Cat's Grace. Yeah, I could get you like a higher version of Cat's Grace.
Well, the only other thing I was thinking of, I could give Kieran my Belt of Incredible Dex +4.
A Cat's Grace is a spell solution to the same problem.
Maybe I just want Kieran to try on Jessup's clothes. You don't know.
is there a greater version of Cat's Grace?
I don't think so.
No, just mass is all I see.
Yeah, mass. Yeah, so it'd just be +4.
There's a 3.5 spell called Greater Cat's Grace.
Yeah, I think we could use that for this
I think
purpose.
it should be allowed.
+1 enhancement bonus per 2 caster levels. Dang.
Perfect. I'd like to argue we allow that.
Wow.
Well, either way, sir, I can give you, if I give you my Omnipresent Mentor, which is a I think that's a competence bonus, isn't it? No, that's not even enhancement. Never mind.
Is there any polymorph that could help us, Swass? Become super tiny, getting smaller.
Reduced person would, yeah.
Yeah.
I did look at gaseous form, but you can't manipulate objects in gaseous form.
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
Is there anything with the Rod of Wonder?
There's someone in
You really shouldn't bank your plan on a 1d100 random effect.
What could possibly go wrong?
Oh man, a 66 to 69. Reduced wielder 2 size categories. No save for 1 day.
Oof.
Okay. I don't know if I'd want that.
Yeah.
It's a 3% chance.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, okay. I guess we'll just have to go with all of this stuff and see what happens. I can use the fly spell instead of my wings. So yeah, we don't have like a ton of time, but I would say we probably have a day, right? We could do this early tomorrow, and then if it doesn't work, then we just go to do whatever and deal with the consequences.
And then we got 5 days to get through, which I honestly don't really expect us having a lot of time to rest in the Onyx Citadel. I could be wrong, but
I don't think so either.
I don't know. Do the Pesh have any ideas or anything they think that they can help with? I mean, I don't know if they do.
So they wouldn't have, like, in terms of like this creature, they wouldn't have really encountered it much, because it would have been just a hill for who knows how long until it got tinkered with. They'd be like, oh yeah, that hill, we know that hill. What are you saying it's a creature? That ain't a creature.
It's definitely not a creature.
I've been on that hill many times.
It's a nice
I
hill.
grew up on that hill.
I grew up on that hill.
My grandfather's owned that hill for 3 generations.
I guess depending if you bamp over there, Sarah, I can try to give you just a bunch of buffs. Because I could give you, which I don't know what happens if you failed trying to tinker it. Because I think you just rolled once, right, Jason? You just rolled once and just said it took a minute to do it.
Yeah, it's just you make a check, and each time you attempt the check, it's 1 minute. You have not yet failed to see if something happens upon a fail.
Ah, here's a spell. Respectful Quiet.
Takes the entirety of each creature but does not extend beyond. Silences one way. Sounds from outside the creature space can still enter. Okay. Quieted creatures gain. Why would this spell give you a bonus and the silence spell doesn't?
I don't know. Doesn't make any sense.
Because it's a 5th level spell slot, Jace. Games don't matter. And then we also have muffle sounds.
From
I found
inner
3.
sea races. Blend with surroundings. That's not going to help if you're invisible.
Well, in theory, as long as the target stays still, it gains a +20 on stealth checks.
Yeah, but invisibility is just better.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
you
You
don't
don't think
stay
those would?
still. No, they're
You
not
don't
going
think
to
those
stack.
would stack? Oh,
No,
really?
they're not going to stack.
Oh, okay.
Won't be ridiculous.
All
Also,
right.
muffle sound and respectful quiet aren't going to stack either.
Oh,
Muffle
really?
just suppresses the sound. If you're not making sound, then you're not suppressing anything.
Oh, you wouldn't let those stack either? Oh, okay. Then I'll
But
just
it's
do
untyped. It's untyped bonus.
It's an untyped bonus, Jason. I thought we were playing it by the rules here. Okay, I'm sorry. Forgive me.
The Zarxorin appears in the room with all of you. Starts spamming electricity. It teleported alongside you.
I don't understand why you're making such a big deal about it.
I'll allow for the respectful quiet, or just have silence work that way in the plan of the double hovering, the stacked hovering plan.
Yeah, but I don't trust Gideon's stealth.
No, I wouldn't trust me either.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about him.
I would just give you respectful quiet.
I mean, technically, you would both be getting the bonus from both invisibility and silence. So even then, it would still be like a +30 to both of you.
What's your base stealth, Gideon?
We don't like to talk about it. -4.
That's not great.
So the Jessup and Kieran show?
Yeah, could do that.
My stealth is +12. I think that's with a few buffs, though.
So maybe you should go in because you also have a good use magic device, don't you?
15 base, but the only problem is I can't give myself Omnipresent Mentor.
That's true.
So I think that's why we were having you do it, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think you net out with better buffs.
And mine's base 23 right now with my heightened awareness, so...
Oh, yeah. There's a lot that's going to
Oh, wait, no, that's not helping it. What's giving me...
Do you have a circlet of charisma or something?
Oh, I have a circlet of persuasion, and
I don't know if that would do it. Use magic device.
It does. It's
Okay.
it's all charisma based skills.
Okay, yeah.
And then, I have inspire courage on. I don't know if and heroism I currently have on. So if I take that off, I'm down to a 21.
Yeah, so I guess my thoughts would be for you then, Kieran, from what I can give you is hero again for a +2 morale bonus to all of your skills. And then depending if you allow me to use like your extend magic rod, I could do that with brilliant inspiration to give you advantage to all your skill checks until you roll the nat 20. I can give you grand destiny, which is 10 minutes per round, which you can get a +4 competence bonus. So you could choose on any skill check that you want. You could do that up to 4 times. So you could do that to your stealth and to the
Use magic device.
Use magic device check. I think that's going to be the best buffs that I can give you. Are those?
And then omnipresent mentor, or do we decide?
Oh yeah,
that doesn't
and I'm
work?
sorry. Yep, omnipresent mentor, and so I could give that to your stealth check, which gives you another +6. Yep.
So wait, are we waiting until tomorrow so Oran can have silence spells or something?
I thought that was the game plan. I mean, I
Okay.
can probably give you all those spells right now, but it's not going to help you currently.
I mean, how stealthy are you?
Well, if I have omnipresent mentor, I'm a +11, and then I would have advantage on all skill checks, or just use magic device.
On all skill checks until you roll a nat 20.
Okay, and then the grand destiny is on one
it's a
check.
It's a +4 competence on one check, but you can do up to 4 times, I believe, at level 15.
So I would want to only use that on use magic device, because didn't you say that omnipresent mentor is also competence?
Well, either way, it wouldn't last long enough. So, like, if the bonus doesn't apply for at least 10 rounds, then it technically wouldn't, like...
Well, yeah, Grand Destiny's 10 minutes. That's why I was saying that if I were to use Brilliant Inspiration, that's 16 rounds. Or is it 6? Yeah, it's 16 rounds. And then, even worst case scenario, I could use the Extend Rod to make it 36 or 32.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I'm not talking about the duration of the spell. I'm saying if you can only use it on 4 checks, that's not enough.
Because he's saying the one check for the use magic device is basically in lieu of doing 10 separate checks and
Yeah.
calculating them.
So, like, the
complicatedly.
advantage thing I allowed to go because it's every check for the duration of the spell, which was longer than a minute. So I was like, yeah, sure, you roll with advantage. But, like, if the spell only affects a short period of time, it's like you only get 4 checks, you'd need at least 10 checks for it to be functional. You know what I'm saying?
This is why I didn't give her a moment of greatness, because there won't be a moment, it'll be 10 moments.
Just keep casting it, dude.
Yeah. Okay, but I would at least... So, with omnipresent mentor, I have a +6. With my base 5, that's +11. +20 for invisibility would give me a +31, which I think
2
is...
from, and then 2 from Heroism.
Oh, I have heroism on, so that's inclusive
okay.
of that.
Silence would be another 10.
Yes, silence would be another 10. So let me put that on. That's what, respectful quiet.
Yeah.
Or are we just going with silence? You're saying silence would work.
Either of them. If you do silence, somebody else needs to be up there with you. If you do respectful quiet, it's a higher level spell, but you can just have somebody cast it on you beforehand.
Okay.
You don't have a level 5 spell slot open today, do you?
No.
Okay.
Well, if you have a higher level spell slot open, though, you could put a 5 spell into 6 or 7.
I don't. I don't generally with like anything above level 5. I don't generally leave open
Gotcha.
because we need most of those during combat and like in the moment. Like that's where Raise Dead, Breath of Life, Heal. That's where all of those are.
Saying you can't take 15 minutes mid-battle to prep?
To prep a spell? No, not generally. No.
Okay. And then let me add invisibility.
Plus 41 or higher, I'm feeling pretty comfortable. That's what the Sands told me. The Sands told me 41 or higher, we're good.
Nat 1 on the roll.
The stat block I sent you.
Yeah, so plus 41 to my roll for stealth. We have to wait until tomorrow morning. Or we could chance it with a plus 31 and go today without the silence. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. Seems like a decision must be made.
And I mean, I can get out of there. Well, maybe. Unless I get stunned. But if I have images up, I could get out of there, potentially, and we could try again tomorrow. With silence. We want to try it twice.
I mean, but that's assuming that maybe he went back to sleep. I guess you don't know. What if he's moving around? I mean, he's not moving that fast, but...
If he's moving around, that's good for us.
This could have been the first time that he's ever woken up in like hundreds of years, though.
Yeah. And in which case, maybe he'll be like, oh, it was just a fly, and then go back to bed.
Did you also go through with the Cat's Grace plan?
No, that's not with Cat's Grace.
Because if you did want to go today, then you could take Jessup's belt and have an extra +2.
To dexterity? Well, it would
It'd be 4 to dexterity, but it'd be +2 to your check.
Well, no, it would be a +1 because my belt has +2 to dexterity already. So
your belt already gives you +2.
Yeah, because I have a belt of physical perfection +2.
Okay. Then neither of those are really that big a deal.
Yeah. I say let's try it with a +31.
I'm okay with that. Its perception check is a +31 as well.
Yeah, so it's a roll off.
If they're asleep, it's good for us, though, because you take a penalty for being asleep.
Do you have the spell slots to still teleport us over there, Kieran, to do that? Are you just going to go on your own and we're just going to hope for the best, or?
I don't know. I have 2 uses of teleport left and 5 uses of dimension door.
Does the sands doesn't show us active? It's not like a security camera, like we can watch Kieran do this, right?
Correct. It shows you in like exact detail the state of the vault, but not like its inhabitants. It doesn't like tell you, oh yeah, there's Zarxorin's over here now, or this is the exact position of the final boss in the tower. It'll like show you everything except for like the stuff that's actually like in flux.
Do we see something that looks like a boss room, though?
You could potentially have it show you maps of the Citadel.
Yeah, we'll have to consult it for maps beforehand.
You just don't know if they've been changed at all, because you know that the Onyx Towers could be molded to fit the needs of the user. You don't know if the Citadel is also perhaps like that could be reformed to suit the Iron Fang Legion's needs, or if it's just like a fixed structure.
Assuming fail state, you just buff out of there and don't get us in trouble again. I'm okay with this plan. I think it's a good idea. We can always try again tomorrow, but maybe we save a day, and that would be best because we'll double more that way.
Okay. All right, so I currently have a +31 to my stealth, and then my use magic device is a +23 with the potential for grand destiny. So,
And that's with Omnipresent Mentor on stealth.
correct. Yep.
Okay.
So I would be using grand destiny on use magic device for a +27.
Well, Grand Destiny wouldn't work on Use Magic Device because it's only for 4 rounds.
Oh.
Like, that's what I was just saying before. It's like, if the spell doesn't at least last for the 10 rounds, it's not really going to affect you, because you're only rolling 1 check, but it's just the summation of 10 rounds of stuff. So, like, the Brilliant Inspiration works, because it's every check for the entire duration of the spell.
Oh, so it would be advantage, but we'd have to cast it right before I go in.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
But you can get that thing to last like 3 minutes or something like that. So
Yeah, I have those slots available. So Kieran, I can do all those. So do you want to mark off one of the extend rods, the greater?
Yeah. Yep. We
Then
can
I
use
could
the
do.
greater.
So I'll do my brilliant inspiration. Let's see, and then I think other than that, omnipresent mentor, hero, which I think I'd already given you hero anyways. Or are we assuming maybe that went away? I could do it again. I got another slot open. Doesn't matter.
I mean, I had it on there, so I don't think it's been that long.
It's been it's 10 minutes per level, but I don't know how long we were sitting and chatting about this or not.
Yeah. This is also right before I go in. I'm also going to cast a mirror image just in case he does wake up and see me. I will have 5.
And it's just you going, correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I can go myself.
Kieran, and then I'm also going to hit you with a freedom of movement.
Oh.
That's good.
It does help with those
No.
things, so I'll hit you with that before you go.
Okay.
I was going to do that on Oran, but then realized I didn't have the range to be able to do it.
And I'm doing a resist energy electricity. Kieran has never felt so stacked in his life.
And you were mocking me earlier in the chat about me buffing Kieran, and it's like, literally, that's what all I do.
I think that's about all I can do. So I can teleport, except what if I don't make it?
I would recommend, Kieran, I'm going to hit you with Anticipate Peril. So just in case you go into combat, you get a +5 initiative.
Okay. Does that stack with my heightened awareness, which I could also use?
Don't know, because I don't think it's typed, but I could be wrong.
Okay. I think I have a buff for that on here.
That's not going to help you against its +0 initiative modifier.
Yeah, we've seen us roll terrible, so all it takes is Kieran rolling 1 or 2 and then him getting a 19 or 20.
And then I forgot, I do have 4 6th level spells, so if I mess up on my teleport, I have 2 5th levels, but I can upcast if I need to, so.
So where are you teleporting us then, I guess? Because that range for that attack was stupid.
I honestly, like, you probably should just stay here.
Well, I was honestly wondering that. Do we have any more scrolls ascending or no?
Yeah, I've got some.
Give him the eye. Oran's got the crown with the eye.
We gave it to
I
the
do
dragon.
not. We gave it to the dragon.
Kieran teleports to the dragon, steals it back, then...
Well, Gods be with you. I'm sure it'll be
I don't... You know, Kieran, just because I haven't done it yet today, why not? Shakeable seal. Just throwing everything on.
Okay, cool.
If we don't hear from you, for how long do we come to your aid?
Well, it only takes him a minute to do it, so literally if it's only 5 minutes...
How?
probably
How are
no
you going to come to my
sideways.
aid, Gideon? You going to start walking?
That's the plan.
Okay.
Well, that's what his boots were made
Well,
for.
Galarian will be destroyed by the time you walk over there, but...
No, it won't, will it?
Let me look at the map, see how far away it is by land. It's about 70 miles.
Yeah, we could just rush through the day. We can just go in fatigued, fight his Xerxes, good to go.
That checks out.
Yeah.
The math checks out on that one.
I do have 2 scrolls of sending, so I can give a scroll of sending to you guys.
Well, I guess in hindsight, wouldn't you be the one to want to do the scroll sending? If we don't hear from you.
Yeah, but I've got, you guys can just have one, and I'll have one,
All right.
just in case.
So we'll have one, just so that way, if you don't send anything to us, we at least have one scroll just to send back
to my
to
corpse.
Westland and just be like, hey, listen, guys.
Can you
We
send
messed
us another 16th level like party member, please?
You guys better just go home to your families.
Yeah.
Listen,
I'm with
guys,
your families.
like
You're going
we
to
messed
die.
Your 20 somehow in your 25 word thing, you're just saying Galarian will end. Have fun.
Say goodbye to family now.
not LOLing for reals.
This is not a drill.
Did we? So this Zarxorin is not an animal, right?
Correct. It's an outsider.
Ah, crud. So I have a potion of hide from animals I think I've had since book 2.
That's
So
not gonna do it.
okay, let's just do it. I've got what I've got, and
When should we hear from you by? Or I guess if we don't.
30 seconds. No, because it takes a minute.
I mean, literally, I think 10, 15 minutes is probably more than enough time, right?
Yeah, I
even
would think
though-
so.
Well, we'll be able to know if you fail or not, because in 10 minutes, can't we just look at the sands to see if the portal's still going? Or the beam?
You'd be able to tell if the magic is active. Yeah.
Okay. And then all of you guys have to log off while this happens so you don't know what happens.
In the event, Kieran, that this does go sideways, do you want to leave your bag of holding with us?
He will reluctantly take off the bag of holding with all
Wait,
of
hold
the,
on.
the
Wait, just because
money
it probably
and-
makes more sense. Let me roll a diplomacy check on Kieran. Kieran, I think you should maybe leave your bag in case something, goes awry.
And his face is that of Frodo with the ring when Sam's like, you need to share that with me. And he's like,
I can share the bird and I can hold it for you.
what? And then he will reluctantly give you the bag of holding as he kisses each coin before it passes through his hands.
Gideon, can you help carry this? I have frail, weak arms and it is too heavy.
And then Kieran giggles because there's actually 2 bags. There are actually 3 bags of holding.
Wait, don't you have a bag of holding in the bag of holding in the bag of holding?
Yeah, we have a bag of holding 1, a bag of holding... Oh, the bag of holding 2 is my personal bag. And then the bag of holding 4. So we've got...
Wait, doesn't it
bags
work that
galore.
way? That if you had 3 bags of holding, that you could put them all in the same bag? Because it's just the weight of the bag, not the contents, right?
Yeah, it's bagception.
They might mention some dimensional shenanigans with putting stuff in other stuff.
Yeah, bad things happen if you do that, so we don't do that.
Oh, okay. I'll say it could probably just teleport us back to the regular world. It's almost just like if you put a bag of holding in a bag of holding, it's basically like dismissal.
Yeah, we just go home. And the AP is 1. So okay, all right, here we go.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank
All
you.
right. So you guys cast all of your buffs on Kieran, and he teleports back over this same day alone. And with the aid of the sands showing you the place you're going to, you can roll your check, but it's with the really good, 64. So you're good.
64.
You get right on top of where you want to be over there. So you can see that the Zarxorin hasn't really moved. It's not asleep or anything. It's still standing, kind of like in its image, but it's not moving. It's just passively standing there as if it's on alert, but not aware of any enemies. So it's just dormant almost. What would you like to do? Time is a ticking.
Yeah, yep. So I have a very limited amount of time with the inspiring something that Jessup gave me.
Brilliant inspiration.
Brilliant inspiration, yes. So I'm going to fly. I am not using my wings. I'm using the fly spell.
Okay.
And I took off my, anything that would cause noise. So, he wears jewelry and earrings. He would have taken those off. And, his rings. Not his ring of protection, though. But, other stuff like that would make noise. Because I'm not silenced. And then he will fly. And I hope this thing doesn't have blind sense.
Okay. So, how do you want to do this? Do you want to roll twice and then have me roll in the chat to see if you succeed, or do you want me to roll in the chat so you know what the DC is when you roll?
I don't know.
I think let's put as much drama on Kieran's roll. So we should know what the DC is.
Okay.
And then we can know if they succeed or fail based on it.
Okay. I'm going to roll it in the chat.
And so this is what, his perception?
This is the creature's perception. Yeah. So, 1d20 plus 31. It doesn't have any other special modifiers.
Oh, well, I looked up and saw that 64. I was like, oh,
I
crap.
did too. I did too. I was like, what?
Maybe the creature's asleep. Maybe he's
I don't
sleeping,
know.
Jace.
I might roll a
Takes-
natural 20.
Oh,
wow.
my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Wait, a natural 2.
Natural 2. So the DC is 33.
Oh, okay.
You can
So-
still... Wait, even with a 1, you'd pass, right?
Well,
Yeah.
a natural 1. I don't know. Does
No,
it
not on
always
a
fail?
skill check.
No, not on a post check. You would win.
All right. 46
Let's
and
go.
44.
Okay. So, Kieran, you fly over, and as you're flying, you know that you did your best to minimize any sound that you can make, but the paranoia in your head is you're picking up the faintest of noise. The wind itself is making you feel like you're making too much noise as you approach this colossal creature. And you're starting to sweat a little bit. You're like, oh man, I hope he doesn't look this way. Don't look this way. But you manage to get all the way up above the creature, close to its back, and you're hovering right on the pedestal where the nexus is located, as it hovers very slightly above the back of the creature. And you can begin attempting to realign it
Okay.
quietly.
I am holding my breath because I have a ridiculous constitution score, so I can hold my breath for probably the rest of this adventure path. So I'm just going to hold my breath to also no sound from breathing.
Okay. Roll your UMD check to see if you can properly align this nexus.
I feel like this whole session is just Sarah strutting on her stats. I can hold this much. I can hold my breath forever. Look at my stealth and my fly. I'm not using wings. No, you pitiful peasant.
There is something very funny, though, about role-playing high-level characters or characters with literally inhuman stats, where you have to, remind yourself of silly things like, oh yeah, my character doesn't need to breathe. Why would he need to breathe? He's gonna hold his breath for 200 rounds. Yeah.
But then he gets all the way over there and forgets that we haven't eaten anything all day, and his stomach growls like an anime where it's
I should have had the rose tea.
Okay. It's 37 and 35.
Okay. DC 35.
Oh,
Shoot.
nice.
Roll me another stealth check. I'm
Okay.
gonna roll I'm going to roll a perception again.
49 and 43. Oh, no.
Oh,
Ooh.
good goodness.
All right, so as you are working on the Nexus here, about 30 seconds, 40 seconds goes by, and you click things into place like they should be, and the Nexus starts to hum a little bit as the energy is being aligned the correct way, but you kind of take a moment, you're just listening. The creature doesn't seem to have been alarmed or anything. You continue the rest of the aligning, and the Nexus finally locks into place as you desire. And you can see as it does so that beam of light that was heading towards the Onyx Citadel, just like the other two Nexuses, it disappears as it is no longer powering the spell or the Citadel's defenses. And as you do, you feel a rumbling. Well, you don't really feel a rumbling. You hear a rumbling beneath you as
It's my stomach.
the creature as the creature begins to slowly basically lay down and crouch and and pull into a ball as it returns to its hill-like state, seemingly no longer agitated by the presence of creatures or the energies being pulled from it in the Nexus. And it goes back to hill form, and you are left there in the air, having successfully evaded its notice twice there and done your use magic device check. And since you guys didn't rest, that means you still have the rest of today and 7 more days.
Oh boy, I hope it doesn't take that long, but good to know.
Yeah, well done, crew. Also, to the people who published this AP, I love how I think they very much would like us to have fought there, and we still said no.
No.
What if we didn't do that?
Hey, we
We're the
did
good
try.
guys.
We did try. I really don't know how you win in that situation.
You have better characters.
Well, it would be possible, but you would definitely need a more stereotypically combat-oriented party.
Yeah, I was
Like,
just saying.
if you had a full-leveled, like a pure wizard, a pure fighter, or barbarian maybe even, anything like that, and you just started doing like the stereotypical buffs, you'd be much better off. But you guys are a much more hybridized, like all of you can do a lot of things rather than being like a single thing that you're good at.
Correct.
Because we're not filthy min-maxers.
That's
So
a way
all
of
the
looking
buffs,
at
we
it.
just threw it up
Except for
there.
Josh.
I do want to point out, though, good job, Sarah, because in hindsight, I mean, you did need the omnipresent mentor, but you successfully rolled the highest on all of your first attempts. So you technically didn't need advantage.
It wouldn't have gone that well if I didn't have advantage. It's only because I had advantage. But so I think after that happens, I think Kieran's gonna go over and sit on a rock and wait the full 14 minutes.
The full 7 days.
Yeah, the full 7 days.
I can picture as soon as Kieran bamps, Jessup would go to Gideon. I'm quite surprised that you didn't want to confide with any of your deities if this was a good idea. I'm glad that you have full faith in Kieran.
He nods slowly, and then we'll communicate. Yes, Kieran has proved himself time and time again, and lately, I think it is time that I trust my own judgment more. I feel as though that is what Milani is asking of me.
Oh, actually, I do have an idea. After I do this, I'm going to teleport back to the archives, but not in the same room, and I'm still going to be invisible, and I want to see if I can sneak up and eavesdrop on any conversations that they're having.
That is mean.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
So Kieran is like, I'm going to use the Rod of Wonder, summon an elephant.
I'm an elephant into the room.
Yeah.
So, which room? Because depending on how you roll, it'll depend on which room you end up.
The one with the bats.
Okay. Roll your teleport.
78.
78. What does that give you on teleport?
I think it's close, isn't it?
It's pretty close.
So this one is...
Seen once.
You've only been in that room once, so I'm not going to belabor it with you being like miles and miles off target, but I am going to say that you intend to go to the room with the vats, and I'm going to roll a d4. 1 is the sand room, 2 is the clockwork room, 3 is the room at the very bottom, and 4 is just like the middle of Stonehome. 1. So you end up just right in the middle of this room.
Oh man, do they know?
Technically not, because you're invisible, I guess. Everybody roll perception checks.
Oh yeah, because this is
Gideon has really good perception, though. So
Gideon does have good perception, and he rolls a natural 1. Brilliant.
I'm gonna roll, but it's like I can't even do it. It's impossible. Oh no, none of that one. It's because Gideon and I are having a conversation about you.
Yup.
Yeah.
So yeah, you teleport in, and I don't think any of you have any sort of active like detect magic abilities, right?
No,
No.
not active.
Yeah, so
or not passive.
yeah, you teleport into the wrong room in the right location, but you see that Gideon and Jessup are just kind of talking, so they don't seem to have noticed you, and Oran is just kind of over there, I guess. I don't know what Oran's doing.
Gideon will just communicate, though, also that he's going to be asking Milani for a big favor here pretty soon. So he's trying to not bother her until then.
So you weren't believing in Kieran. You just didn't want to pester the god you're going to ask a favor for?
He, a slow smile creeps over his face, and then a hearty laugh.
Hopefully it works. How long has it been? And Jessup pulls up his sundial.
It depends on how quickly Kieran came back, but it could have been as early as like 3 minutes, really.
Aren't you inside? How are you going to tell time? Plus, there's no sun here.
I know.
So were you guys going to be like were you going to be like wait till the time period was up and then ask the Saiyans if the thing was still going, or were you actively trying to do that, or were you just going to wait for Kieran to sending you?
Oh, I guess I don't know how quickly it updates.
You don't know.
After about 4 minutes, Gideon will go, "Oh, great sands."
So if you were to inquire, you would see that the link with the final nexus had been broken. It seems like it has pretty decent update speed, as long as it's not an active like creature walking around.
I can't believe he did it. I mean, I can believe he did it, but just what happened and at least how this day was going to transpire, I could kiss him as soon as he gets back here.
He is very competent.
Well, of course, I gave him Omnipresent Mentor. That's a buff to competence.
Oh yes, thank the gods for bards.
Kieran will speak up. No, please do go on. Tell me how competent I am. I do enjoy hearing it.
Welcome back. Good work, Kieran.
Why, thank you. He'll take a bow, but he's still invisible. Also, it seemed like whatever happened with the Nexus, as soon as it was put back to order or out of order or whatever, the creature just went to sleep and became a hill again, so...
Jessup kind of looks in the general direction of the voice, but obviously still can't see you, and I think we surmised that perhaps it would go dormant again. Gideon, I believe that was your idea. I suppose your hunch was correct.
I am relieved to hear that.
I mean, I'm more relieved that Kieran was actually able to disarm the Nexi. Your hunch was probably down the ladder of things I'm impressed with today.
It is good that we did not need to kill a creature.
I'm glad we're not dead.
Yes, though now we must set our sights. That is one more task.
So now is the real hard part, because now that all of these Nexi are down, there's really nothing to do but just go into the wolves' den, I guess.
I have to say, I'm not quite looking forward to what we will encounter in there. I mean, other than the weird, tentacly, slightly passive creatures we saw there, the dragon and this hill giant, they were able to sneak up and manipulate the Nexi. I would assume that it would have taken longer to manipulate those than it is to kind of reconfigure them back. That there must be very formidable foes in there indeed. I mean, none of us even stood a chance against the hill giant thing, let alone the dragon. I'm glad we didn't have to tango with that. I'm kind of tired of dragons. No offense, Kieran.
No, none taken, I understand. I've honestly seen more dragons than I expected to in my lifetime, so I am content.
Well, among the good news that we have, you bought us time, Kieran.
And with that, honestly, I think we should just take the rest of today to prepare ourselves. We don't know what's going to come and if we'll get a chance to really rest again. I kind of would like a few hours of just peace before we continue on.
I agree.
Yes, I concur. And don't forget that they know we're here. They know that we've disarmed the Nexi. They'll know we be coming.
Yes, we no longer have the element of surprise, if we ever had it to begin with. It would be wise, I think, we could maybe spend a day looking, communing with the sands, seeing what the layout looks like, orchestrating a plan. And I say we strike earlier rather than later.
All right. So that's the plan then, is take this day and chill out here.
Yes.
Chillax.
Chillax.
Are you like casually asking those questions to the sand during this day, or you're just doing like total off the books, vacation time for the rest of the day?
I think it's vacation time. Gideon's going to spend a lot of time praying, meditating, and centering himself and preparing for what might be. I mean, we're going into the lion's den now.
I thought it was wolves. What is going on? Well, I think from Jessup's point of view, we've halted them, presumably, from being able to use the portals to go to, Glenaria. And we've bought ourselves, what's it now, 14 days? Or will it be roughly 13 days after we rest?
No, you have 7 days. So you started with having like only a day, and then it would have doubled to 2 days, then it doubled to 4, then it doubled to 8.
Oh,
and
okay,
since you rested once already, after today, you'll only have the 7.
Yeah, I mean, Jessup's thinking like at most we got maybe 3 days left. A day to potentially get there, and then the assault, and maybe that's even being, overly optimistic. But I think there's not much more we could do today, so I agree with Gideon to just kind of take a day to kind of relax and just kind of get into a more positive state of mind.
All right. So yeah, you guys do that. All things said and done, you probably were able to get those 3 nexuses. Well, so the one you did on the first day, then you rested to get your spells back, and then the next day you did the last 2, and honestly, those probably only took you maybe 3 or 4 hours combined, because you had to go over there, walk around a little bit, check things out, talk to the Zorns, negotiate with them, then teleport over to the Zarxorin, fight it a little bit, teleport away, come up with a strategy, go back, and so on and so on. But you have a couple hours left today that you can just kind of relax, center yourselves, prepare mentally and emotionally, maybe go through your items again one last time and just make sure that you're not forgetting anything that you might need, and just the general stuff that you would expect to prepare for when you know that you're in the final stretch of a very long journey that the 4 of you have been on at this point. And eventually you do begin to feel a little bit tired. It doesn't really give you a time of day or anything, 'cause there is no day here, but your natural internal clocks are tuned enough that you know that it's time to go to sleep at a certain point, and you're able to rest here in the archives, fairly confident that nothing's really going to bother you in here. And you can awake the next day, begin prepping your spells, doing any other preparation you want. You know that you do have, this and 6 more days after this one to figure out what you want to do. So yeah, the next morning comes. What's your plan?
Can we get those maps, brother?
Sure. So if the 4 of you kind of gather around the sand and you ask it to show a map of the Onyx Citadel, you can see that it seems that the spell that is affecting this is obscuring some of the internal bits of the structure, but a vast majority of the exterior and even some of the open areas are visible in great detail. It just seems that whatever effect is, and it might be similar to the effect that you experienced when you tried to teleport into the Onyx Tower and you were blocked, some sort of natural magical defense against scrying and teleportation. But let me move you to this map here. So just so you know, this is a 3-part map.
It's a huge map.
There's no heckin' way I was getting all 3 of these onto the same map. So I'll go this page by page. So where's my Fog of War? Reveal areas. So you see that the Onyx Citadel is kind of placed on an island in the middle of that lake you see in the sort of central area of the vault. And in fact, let me move you to the vault map so that I can kind of point this out a little bit more in detail. So you see the green circle I put in the center in the middle of that lake. So you can gather just about all this information from talking to the sand and so on, but the lake there is called the Argent Lake, and it's called that because the two rivers that go into it, one of them is a Quicksilver River. So the bottom of the lake, the last 150 feet of the lake bed, is not filled with water, but a thick layer of Quicksilver. So the Argent Lake is clearly the largest natural feature in the Vault of the Onyx Citadel. It's nearly 30 miles across at some of its widest points, and it's dotted with islands. And the valleys, as I said, two major rivers flow into it. The lake's depth is about 500 feet, and again, the last 150 feet of that is just Quicksilver, which means that the water itself is kind of poisonous because of how much Quicksilver is in the lake. You can see that the vault's ceiling above the Onyx Citadel is at its highest point within the entire cavern, arching 2 miles overhead. Most of the Citadel itself rises to a height of 100 feet, but the black spire in the center of the Citadel goes up another 500 feet for a total of 600 feet for that central spire of the Onyx Citadel. The island that the Citadel is on is bridged from the coast by a 50-foot wide bridge that stands over the Argent Lake, connecting the lakeshore to the island. And you can't really see any sort of distinguishing details other than, like I said, the geographic things here. So you don't know patrols, you don't know any sort of defenses like that. Like if they might have built a catapult somewhere, you wouldn't know about that, but you would know about the actual architecture and geography. So now I'll move you back to that one.
While we were still there, I was going to ask some questions about the vault that I had forgotten. I noticed there were 3 points of interest on the farthest external edges. I forget what those were.
Yeah, so there are more than just the 3 citadels, nexi that you went to. There are other nexi in the vault. It's just that those particular nexi were not attuned towards this spell. Either they were not geographically ideal for the purposes of the spell, or maybe they were just either too far away, or maybe they were better defended, or maybe the magical effects that they provided simply weren't worth bothering with for the Iron Fang Legion. But those 3 far away circles are just other nexuses that the Sands would have showed you, but that aren't really relevant.
I'm brainstorming here, though, stretching out a bit. Surely, the Peshes were not happy with the Iron Fang presence. Is it possible that there's any other inhabitants to this vault that might also be maligned towards the Legion? Is that at all a train of thought worth exploring?
You're not sure how many residents would still be here that don't like the Legion. Anyone that is capable of planar travel probably would have left within the 2 years that Legion has been here. The Petches just simply wouldn't have been capable of such things. You know that the Shaitan that you fought was a resident of this place and was hired on the Iron Fang Legion's side. It's possible that there are others who could have been similarly convinced, or maybe the Shaitan himself was some sort of ambassador. You know, the Zorns were not necessarily opposed to following orders once given. And yeah, so it's hard to say what the allegiances of the other creatures here might be, but that's up to you to consider.
I was just brainstorming the idea of potential allies. And then remind me, it's like being in the center of a giant meteor, really, right? There's this external rock at the far edges.
There's no sky here. This is it's just like any old, underground cavern. It's just unbelievably large.
As far as I'm interested in the planar physics. If you were to approach this edge, are you just burrowing through endless rock, or is there potentially another vault somewhere else, or is this a pocket dimension?
So you're essentially just on the plane of Earth, This is a vault on the plane of Earth. So if you were to continue, you would just essentially start burrowing into the plane of Earth until you came across something else, which could be thousands of miles, because the plane of Earth is functionally limitless.
Got you. But we're on the plane of Earth very specifically. The similar plane of fire, like we're on the plane of Earth.
Yeah, so the question never actually came up, but Sabrinar would have mentioned that you guys were on the plane of Earth if you had asked, like, specifically where you were.
That is interesting to me. So it's just Earth, all the way up, all the way down, all the way left, all the way right. It's just Earth.
Yep.
It's just more of this with little pockets and geodes.
Pretty much, yeah.
So this is, I don't know if, this is fun. I don't think I've ever been to one of the other planes of existence. I know we did some plane traveling in Rune Lords, minor spoilers, but they were always like
a demi-plane.
They were like demi-planes or pocket dimensions or like self-created subspaces. It wasn't like, no, you are in the well-established plane of whatever, you know?
Yeah, I'm just slowly polygon revealing the map here.
I'm stalling for time. I imagine that there's a lot because you can't reveal everything. But yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah.
I do like this sequence though. Very schematic-y. Very all right. So blah 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 blah. Like you can the mental image of them like pointing to the different sands for like potential entry points and in the back and forth. It's very very Hollywood.
I have a question for the party if we want to use time.
Yeah. Shoot.
Sure.
Probably would have been yesterday. Honestly, before we went to bed and everything, we were just like taking time to chit-chat and relax. But Jessup would ask the group collectively, so when we defeat the Legion and go back, what's everybody's plans? What are you going to do? Things will definitely not be the same, especially with newfound shaky alliances.
I honestly don't think I want to even voice what I want to do because I'm afraid it's not going to come to fruition, but I do have plans. Short-term plans, I think. I'm still working out long-term plans in my head, but so far I haven't really allowed myself time to think that far ahead because, I mean, out of all of us, I've probably died the most, and I'm sure that the coming days will see more death. Hopefully not for you. I've kind of accepted it for myself, but hopefully before the end, we'll all be standing and can make it back to Galarian.
Well, whatever your plans are, Kieran, you know that you always have a home in Nirmathos and Longshadow.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I think I will probably at some point have to tell them all who I am. I don't think outside of us that any of them really know.
Did you salute? Did you end up saluting when people were showing up?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, when they showed up at the meeting, I don't think I did.
Because you had considered it. I didn't know if you decided against it or not.
No, the only time
that would have been kind of a red flag for some people, maybe.
No, the only time I saluted was when we came here, and I didn't think that other people were there at the time. But
Okay,
maybe they were.
I was just curious.
I was trying to keep it on the DL.
Well, I think you did when we first met them, and we went in the other room when we were trying to gather information to try to woo your commander there.
Oh yeah, when it wasn't the other.
Yeah.
But it was just us in there, I think, with the Malthune soldiers.
Yeah.
I guess for me, I was made a promise to the mayor that I would potentially be an advisor. I guess the other thing I was contemplating is, with my newfound form, it's interesting to see through some of the eyes of what Rizrin went through. Granted, I think that I was well more established and looked up to rather than kind of looked at, but I don't know. I don't know if I would go back to my human form. I guess it would be interesting to live a longer life. I was getting up there in age as a human, so I'll actually be able to see more, do more for Nirmathos, and potentially see what Rizrin will amount to in life. It is kind of sad knowing that I may outlive him, but at least I'll be able to see the legacy that he leaves, and not many parents probably could say the same.
If I might give you one piece of advice, Jessup, on Rizrin, go on a trip with him or something when you get back. I think he would like that. I don't know him very much. I only met him when we were in Longshadow, briefly. And from what you've said of your relationship with him, As someone who also has not had a father, I would encourage you to make use of the time that you have with your son.
Yes, I think that is a good idea. We have come a long way in such a short amount of time. I'm quite surprised that we were able to break ground and have conversations. I mean, one of the few times he saw me, even during the battle, was when good old Hursk was at my house, and we didn't have pants. It was a very interesting conversation to have, and definitely something he walked in on that was... yes. Anyway, Oran, what about you?
Mine would be pretty easy. I think I'd go back to Kragadon, and I might, since things are calming down, I might, might become a merchant. I don't know. Maybe try my hand at trade for a little bit.
A merchant of what? What goods would you try to...
A merchant of death! No,
Save that for the Legion! Be a merchant tomorrow!
Well, I mean, Kragadon's been locked up for a while there with the siege, so I'd probably, maybe try and trade some of the goods that get produced in Kragadon. Maybe take them out and see if I can set up some trade routes.
I think you have a good eye. You should be a merchant that sells diamonds and diamond dust.
I've certainly used enough of it. And he'll nudge Kieran.
I know. I'm sorry. I've really tried not to.
Oh, Kieran, don't worry about it. You have a good head on your shoulders. Now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because the call.
Too soon. Too soon.
Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, okay.
Oh, my boy, don't worry.
A pretty horrific memory. Thank you for bringing it up.
Well, I mean, we saw it. You felt it, so...
Oh, sounds like a good plan, Oran. I will be jealous of your new life. I hope you find peace there.
And what of our favorite Milani lover? Looking for a solid death, I think? So that's what you strive for, to be reincarnated by her wishes or something of the like?
I would give myself till martyrdom's cause if it came to that. Though I think that an individual can do much more if I'm living. As for my future, it's a little bit unknown, the details. But I know that I will continue to become one of Milani's exalted. I wish to see peace between Nir Mythos and Morthune. Hopefully, the events with the Legion will tip the political scale. Assuming that any progress is to be had there, I'll go somewhere else. I've heard of Eagle Knights in Onderon, freedom fighters. Anywhere someone is oppressed, I will try to stand for them.
That is a lofty goal.
I hope I am able to accomplish it. So far, I've sworn my shield to Nir Mythos, and the stronger I am, the more places I can offer protection. That's what I want to do.
Well, I'll help you any way I can, especially with the Nir Mythos end.
You will be a powerful ally, Jessup. I'll come to rely on you.
Oh, don't put too much pressure on me.
I'm sure you're capable.
Jessup blushes. Did I buy you enough time there, DM?
Yeah, I'm good to go. All right, so as I said, I have 3 pages for the Citadel, basically. So first page, again, on the lake, on the island, and the island basically curves up almost like a cliff to the base of where the Onyx Citadel is built. And that bridge goes up to the opening gateway, and I'll move you over here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. So you can see all of the exterior bits now, right?
Oh,
it's
boy.
just the inner rooms that are still obscured from your vision.
These big black
Okay.
circles.
Yeah, so you see the bridge that leads up on the right-hand side there. It goes up to a gatehouse. You can't see inside beyond that point, but you can tell that on the other side of the gatehouse, there is an open platform area, and the sands would kind of show you that this area is filled with colorful grass-like crystals. It's not like sharp crystals that are going to like stab into your feet if you're walking on it, but it's not just like regular old glass either. It's some sort of like unique pliable crystal like substance. You can see right here, kind of jutting off of the back of that area, there is a rock that is kind of like a pillar. It's just a straight pillar that goes up about how high does that pillar go? Yeah, so it is. It's a about 100 feet up. It's like a sort of antenna-looking pillar of black onyx crystal, and you can tell that there is an entrance into the citadel on the other end of the open area, and there's an entrance on. You can slightly see a door here, leading into something connected to that gatehouse, it looks like. And then on the other side, there's a open area of the citadel itself where you can see what looks to be some sort of forge set up, and it's kind of like an open air forge that you could see into. There, it's just like an open balcony sort of thing, and that's all you can see on the first level. Oh, there's a balcony over here as well. So there's a couple different entry points on this first floor. Moving on to the second floor, the second level, you can see on the right-hand side is the second level of that side building by the gatehouse, and that rock kind of continues to raise up from there. However, right next to that rock is an open area, an open platform with some sort of device in its center. You can't really tell what the details of the device are without really seeing it, but it seems to be some sort of, you would assume, control panel. There are little things jutting out of it that you might assume to be levers or something like that, but you'd have to see it in person, because at the moment it's kind of like looking at, again, it's sand, doesn't have color, so you can't distinguish. If there were like runes on it, you wouldn't know, but it looks like some sort of device that might interact with that antenna-like shard, that pillar. On the main area, on the second floor, you can see that there's two big circular sections that make up the citadel, these spires that come up. The smaller of the two on the second level opens up, and there's a sort of walkway all the way around another room in the center. And that walkway connects to the main circular section of the Onyx Citadel. There are two doors that block your vision, here and here. There is you can see the beginnings of a staircase right next to those doors, but you can't see beyond where it goes. And then the balcony just kind of continues and overlooks the open area that you saw on the first floor. And then on the other side of the open, the central tower area, there's another balcony that is open that you can see into. So those are a couple more potential entry points. And then the final third floor, you can see the very top of that smaller circular area is just a tower at the top, an open flat tower that you can't, again, you don't see any creatures on any of these maps, but that looks like it would be a good defensive point, because it overlooks basically the whole of the area. It would overlook like the forge from below. It would overlook the big crystal grass plain area. It would overlook the walkway from the circular walkway from the previous level. And then up here, you can just see this is where those stairs continue. Again, you can't see beyond the stairs, but that's just linking you to where that is on the map. And then the other end, you can see another open balcony area that appears to be a defensive location. You may or may not technically be able to see siege equipment there. The map will show you because it's part of the map, but those would have technically been set up after the fact. But it wouldn't be hard to surmise that this would be a good ballista emplacement. And this bit up here, the top right corner of this third level, is actually the fourth level, which would be kind of placed on the center of the main circular area. So the sort of middle point of that main tower is 4 levels up, more or less. And it even continues above that, but this is enclosed. So yeah, there's probably 7 or 8 different potential avenues of approach, but the defensive magic on the tower itself prevents you from seeing like room layout, but this is still quite a bit to work with strategically.
And along that point, just going to toss an idea and then we can see what everyone else is thinking. I'm a big fan of going from the top down. I think that that's an interesting way that powerful magics give us a leg up to choose that approach of attack. I think it could be beneficial in this situation.
But that's what they want us to do, so all of them are going to be at the top.
If you were to ask the sand something along those lines, the sand cannot tell you where any creatures are at any given moment. However, it can tell you the fact that even prior to the Ironfang Legion's arrival here, the Citadel did have its own defensive force. And these were created by the Vault Builders to help defend the Citadel. And the Sands would basically tell you that they are designed to defend the Citadel itself, regardless of who controls it. So for all intents and purposes, they are on the Ironfang Legion's side with undying loyalty because the Ironfang Legion is the current owner of the Citadel. And if you were to ask questions about these creatures, you would learn that they are called ruby-winged gargoyles. And they tend to fly around the Onyx Citadel in groups. So if you were to get closer to the Citadel and look at it visually, you would be able to see creatures flying around constantly above the Onyx Citadel. The sand cannot tell you where they are at any given time. You can't plan their routes, their numbers, anything like that. You would have to be there in person to see anything like that. But it can at least tell you that they exist. And I'll even kind of see if I can show you the image of them.
So that complicates things for sure. Doesn't make it impossible, but definitely complicates the top-down approach.
So they look like that.
Oh, not what I was expecting.
Oh.
Same.
Ruby-winged gargoyles.
Looks like a tiefling a little bit with wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does
Kinda
look kind of
does.
like that.
I still think that drop landing into H26 and then running down those steps might be a strat, but those ruby-ringed gargoyles make it far more difficult to consider as a primary option.
I guess technically you would be able to learn as much about them as you'd want because of how that works.
Do we know from the sands, would they be able to tell us, like, I guess, is it all connected to the point where if one of the living defenses of the Citadel sees something, like, do they have that where they all are connected or have that, like, hive mind or something along those lines, or are they kind of individualized, quote, creatures in a way?
Yeah, so much like the Zarxorin, the sands can tell you just about anything about them that you want. So the ruby-winged gargoyles, they are lawful neutral monstrous humanoid creatures. They have no special senses beyond like dark vision. They don't have like any sort of mental link, but they've got decent perception. And if they're flying around above, they would probably have good line of sight to any of the open areas. The balconies, like the small balconies, you might be able to get in quickly enough that they wouldn't follow you, but you'd imagine like on the second floor, if you were to like try to land right in here, for example, they would probably see you there. Like they'd probably see you on this other side over here as well, but maybe you could dart inside quickly enough, but then you don't know what defenders might be inside of there. And on the top floor here, obviously there would be creatures in this area, just because you can see ballista on the map, which would seem to imply that there would be people manning the ballista, even if your characters wouldn't technically know that there are ballista there. And this area as well is very open. They would definitely see you. Whether or not they would be able to really do anything about it, who knows? But they would 100% see you if you were to go there. Also, you know that they are medium-sized, so technically speaking, they could follow you anywhere you go if they don't have any sort of tether in game
And they're
terms.
loyal to the Citadel holders, whoever controls it.
Yeah, they are defenders of the Citadel, so whoever owns the Citadel is who they follow.
So if we own the Citadel, they would defend us.
Sure.
Can we steal the flag? Can we like cap it?
If you can find it.
Capture the flag!
If we cap the flag, they'll join our team.
Yeah, if you can find the flag. So you're talking about these spots here?
Yeah, well, that one's a little too small, but maybe down there or this one here.
So this right here, this is just the continuation of the stairs from below. So like if I move you to the other one, you can see that that's just where the stairs go. It's just the top. It's just the top bit of it. Those stairs are open. There's no door there. It's just that they are deep enough into the citadel that you can't see the details of the stairs. But that's where they connect to. The other two spots there are just openings in the wall, almost like arrow holes, arrow slits, but just bigger. So you could probably, with your profession soldier, pretty reasonably imagine some sort of like siege defense, and it's just like an opening for you to fire out of, sort of a deal. With the more like these triangular bits here that you can see all over the place, anything like that is just like a castle wall. Like they are little bits that an archer could stand in to shoot out of and have improved cover from anybody firing back at them. So that's what those are all about.
So we don't have any specifics of the interior, but there are some areas that we have got insight towards. Is it feasible that'd be seen once percentage if Kieran wanted to just bamf us right inside of some place? Or is there a dimensional anchor that's preventing any kind of travel like that?
You would think if you were to, actually the Sands might not know this bit because it's not necessarily something that would always be active. I would say that you guys would be able to tell, given how the individual tower on the material plane reacted to you trying to teleport inside of it, and given the spell effect that is already obscuring most of what you can see, a teleport would probably succeed, but you wouldn't probably go inside where you want to go. You'd probably be deposited like in the most open area. Like you might just be deposited like right out in the middle of, so like you could teleport probably onto the top of this tower on the 3rd level. Right here you could probably teleport because that's not interior at all. It's might as well just be an open area.
It's not dimensionally trapped, but it's probably blocked.
You could probably teleport anywhere into this open grassy crystal area. You could probably teleport onto the bridge. You could probably even teleport into the forge. These small balconies, you're not sure if that would succeed. But the big open areas, you could probably teleport into. Just that those big open areas are either really, really obvious or probably manned by people. But you can see the entire island, so you could also feasibly teleport somewhere else on the island and then like fly or walk over anywhere you wanted as well.
I don't like any of the options. I just want to go home.
I don't know what to tell you.
Let's spend 6 days talking about this, and then we'll go on the 7th day.
Yeah.
That checks out. That's our style.
That's our style.
I was going to throw it to the group. I don't like any of the options, but I really don't like going and just trying to traditionally siege it. I don't think we have any advantages there.
But maybe that's what they're expecting, is for us to teleport in and not coming through the front gate. I mean, they know we have teleport and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh, surely they do. But I just think that 4 people, even as decked out as we are, trying to leverage a whole frontal assault through like traditional siege tactics, that doesn't get us anywhere. Maybe we could look at securing some allies and they could work as diversion while we do something else.
What if we secure an ally of that genie guy that's going to come kill all of our buddies?
I think I'd rather deal with the winged guys and try to outrun them. Ideally, we completely avoid detection, although that's unlikely. Although with some maybe magical expenditures, we could. I rather don't care if they see us and just try to get inside quicker and maybe close a barrier behind us so they know that we've intruded. Whatever, doesn't matter. But they can't directly add to the encounter of enemies that we're fighting, if that makes sense. Kind of a blitz strategy.
I suppose, but that would trap us too, though.
I'm very hyper aware of that. But at least Gideon's perspective, it's all or nothing. So if we can get in there and then try to destroy them proverbially from the inside out, he'd rather assault that way because that would leave us with the advantage as well as far as mitigating how many waves of enemies we're fighting at once.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
It's rough. The whole time Jace was talking, I was trying to think of another idea, but I really just don't see us knocking on the front door and making any progress.
Yeah, that's fair. I think we're just going to have to pull the trigger and go in and deal with it, kind of like what we did when we went into the tower of Phaendar. Like, that was from the bottom, obviously, but like, we just went smashing down the front door. I mean, not the same strategy here, but once we're in, we can probably assess and figure it out. And obviously, we're probably going to bamf right into combat, but I don't see an alternative way to handle it easily.
Yeah, there's 2 times that this went successful, and 1 time it went very bad. If we ran into the so dragon right at the start, like when Aiden died, if we just came in at the top tower,
Yeah.
that was bad, but at least we could accomplish our goal. So I say, Jace, our headspace is we're going to try to. We're like a dart. We're going to try to get as far into like the center or into the tower as possible, and then we're an exploding arrow. So once we're in there, we'll try to like attack out. But we want to kind of penetrate and get as close to the action as possible, and then do it that way. Because at the very least, we won't be fighting against a wall. We'll just be fighting waves of enemies.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Where would you think that you'd be going into, though?
Probably one of the higher ups. So either the 2nd or 3rd level. I'd have to see them. H26 on the 3rd level still really stands out to me as a good choice.
Yeah, they didn't have a non-GM map for level 3. They have an interactive, and you can turn the numbers off, but that one map that didn't work. So I was like, well, is the last map of the AP. They could deal with having some H numbers in there.
H28, which means there's a lot of rooms if you're at 28.
Because this H26 connects back on the 2nd floor. It's kind of like an adjacent circular tower. It's not the main one.
Yeah, correct. It comes up and it goes back down into it. Yeah.
I think that this here gives us a lot of buffer room. So if we go in and go down right away, right? Then we can, from within the tower, sort of begin an assault towards this center area. The only other choice is we go on H28, but we're fighting through ballistas on our way in and trying to get through doors that are likely barred.
Speaking of bards, I think the room we're in is probably the buffer room. Huh? The dad bard joke? No? I'm just going to shut up and let the profession soldiers take care of this. I'll just go read it.
So, one thing I will say for the H26 tower into bit, one thing that you'll have to consider is, since that is in the open air, you will attract potentially many gargoyles. They might come at you in waves of their own, but there'd be probably many of them. If you were to then go down into it, you don't know what is on the other side of that staircase. You might end up fighting something on both sides of a staircase where the 4 of you are squished in. It's another thing to consider.
The alternative, well, that's why I like a place where we could shut the doors behind us, bar it in some way.
If you wanted something like that, so almost on the 1st floor, because you've got these 2 doors. Am I on the right layer for you to?
Yeah.
You've got these 2 doors that if you were to just open real quick and jut inside, you could close them behind you.
What doors? Show me.
On the right side here, going into these smaller areas. They're not the central bits. Or there's this open doorway it's not a door, it's just an open like arch that you could just dart right inside. You wouldn't be able to close the door behind you, but like it would be, you go straight inside there.
Go back to the 2nd level again. I do like this.
2nd level also has 2 doors here.
Is this an open with the bottom portion where it looks like there's a railing?
This? Or no, you're here.
Yes, that area, yeah.
Yeah, that is an open area that is overlooking the level 1 grassy crystal area.
Down below.
Yeah. It's like if you were to compare it there compared to being like right up here.
Yeah.
Just like maybe 30 feet up.
How do you guys feel about that as an entry point?
Yeah.
Honestly, it works for me. I really don't feel strongly anyway. I think we're gonna get into we always make mountains out of molehills anyway, so no matter what we do, it's gonna end up being a hot
I
mess.
think that's a fine area, and then that gives us a lot of responses of ways to go. Jace, is there a quick profession soldier? Gideon's smarter than me when it comes to this, or are we all in agreement that we'll just go there?
I mean, unless Jessup has an objection.
I honestly don't really have a strong opinion anyway. I'm just there to buff you guys, so wherever you take me, that's where I'm going.
I do think that we'll go into this fight fully buffed from the get-go. So
I'm putting on like heightened awareness, anticipate peril on you yahoos. Like I'm betting as soon as we get in, it's combat time.
So let's take our long rest.
Well, we already did.
A second long rest.
Second long rest. He doesn't know about elevensies.
The only other thing, we could spend a day to scout with some invisibility checks, but I'm inclined to just go.
I mean, we could in theory go and camp somewhat close, but I don't know how high alert. I'm assuming they're probably going to be on super high alert, very defensive, not really overly offensive. I mean, they already went on the defensive first when we got the key, let alone now that we've taken down their towers. They know we're going to assault. Our benefit is they don't know when.
The benefit is that they don't know exactly when, they just know that it's coming, and that's why I want to strike fast and hard and just go.
And you also know that given how big this place is, like it's hard to keep watch over everything.
Correct. And I feel it's going to take time, even if they do recognize a weakness, to mobilize troops to that area. We can have moved on since then. If we beat that wave fast enough, we can keep going somewhere.
Well, honestly, what we could do is we could bamf in somewhere, do combat, try to take a dent into them, and then teleport literally to another area of the tower. Like almost just like we know where our true goal is, but teleport one other place, cause a little mischief, and then go to our actual location, because then that way we might mobilize them to a different area. You know what I mean? Just kind of keep them scattered.
We keep them scattered like that, because you have to think about communication lines too. I mean, even with magical sending, you're looking at a walkie-talkie equivalent. Oh, they're down here. Now they're over here. Now they're here. Where are they? And they're not going to know. I like that.
You just have to be careful with dimensional travel in and out of or through areas related to the Onyx Tower. You can only go to so many places.
But with a dimension, was it step?
Dimension door?
Or door, yeah. Dimensional
slide
door.
or something else.
Dimensional door. We can probably bamf around some places.
You just don't know, like, how interfered it would be.
Right.
But, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I mean, because when there's a dimensional anchor, you could teleport into the anchor, but then you just can't leave, correct?
Dimensional trap, you can. Dimensional anchor, you can't leave.
Right, but you can go into it.
Yeah. So, like, if there's a dimensional trap or something on there, then you might go in and then be
stuck, not being able to get it. That's another thing to take into consideration, too, is that if that's a goal to teleport and bamf all around, but then we get there and realize we can't.
I know, isn't Dimensional Trap the bad one, though, too, that you also take damage if you try it?
Yeah, you don't want to get hit by it if you can avoid it. So, kind of to answer your question, Josh, you were asking about what Gideon's profession soldier would tell him. I'm going to tell you the areas that you are allowed to teleport to. Whether or not you can teleport out of them, teleport through them, or whatever, but you can teleport to them. So, option 1 is the bridge. Gideon would know that this is probably not the ideal situation unless you are confident in a very, very intense initial battle, as it is overlooked by a balcony here, the ballista on level 2, and arrow slits all throughout this area. And again, it is the front gate. So they'd probably be looking at it, right? So that's probably not the best place to go to. Second option would be the forge. Also probably not the best place because it is almost guaranteed to be manned by some number of people. May or may not be combatants that are manning it, but there'd be people there. So that would potentially be a bad spot to just pop into. You're already kind of planning to jump into battle, but you for sure would not have any sort of element of secrecy there. Option 3 would be pretty much anywhere in this big open crystal grass area. depending on your strategy, that is a viable location. If you wanted to like hole yourselves up into this room, you don't know how these are connected if they all go in one to the other, but you could try to take it at a systematic approach using either of these openings, potentially. For level 3, this balcony area that you mentioned is an option. It is a teleport option. And given its location, it's not a bad one because it's not on the ground floor and it's not as open as some of the other spots. So anywhere in the circular area out here is pretty much totally open air. You'd be noticed pretty quickly. But this area specifically, it's more like an ingress into the tower. It has a roof above it, like 15 feet up, where level 3 is. So level 3 is on top of level 2. So it's not like this is totally open air. If you were to like continue the circle, like this place by the doors, that has a roof above it, basically. This has a roof above it, right? It's only once you get to this secondary circle that it is totally open air. So assuming there isn't an active patrol in this exact location, you might not immediately be in battle. There might be a patrol there. You don't know that. But it's kind of a 50-50 on whether or not you could try to start a stealthy run, or at least maybe, if you're quick enough, maybe you could put down a patrol before enemies get there. You don't know, but that's not a bad spot. And then on the level 3, the only option is this big open area, because the ballista spot, again, definitely manned, probably warded in some way, because it is a major defensive location. But up here on this tower, 100% you would be noticed by everyone in the skies above, and you don't know how many of them there are. So that might get you into about as much of an intense battle as the front gate. So Gideon would probably think of either the bit in floor 1 or the bit in floor 2 is my guess.
My personal leaning was towards one of those two anyway, and my slight edge went to the second floor balcony with the crystal grass area being my plan B, my contingency.
That sounded like what most people were sort of agreeing with, so...
Let's not belabor the point, kick a dead horse. Let's say that's what we'll do.
Okay. Well, I will have to plan everything out. We're going to cut it here, and I will continue planning how all this goes, and we will have to reconvene next time to see how the siege of the Onyx Citadel goes.